that it was haram, but today this person is making it halal because of his understanding of that translation of one hadith. Either all of those people over the 1400 years were wrong, and we are the only correct people with the right understanding, with the best followers of the belief, the best followers of the deen, or it's the vice versa, and we know what it is. And this really should give us some very straightforward direction in our life when we would like to come up with any decision regarding the Sharia of Islam. Anything about halal and haram. وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَا تَصِفُ أَلْسِنَتُكُمُ الْكَذِبَ هَذَا حَلَالٌ وَهَذَا حَرَامٌ لِتَفْتَرُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ. Do not say about things that you just make up by your own words, that this is halal and this is haram, to fabricate lies against Allah. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَفْتَرُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ لَا يُفْلِحُونَ. Those who fabricate lies against Allah will never succeed. This is lying against Allah when a person is saying this is halal, this is supposed to be halal. Oh, my understanding is that there is nothing wrong with it. SubhanAllah. Great understanding. So all of these scholars are saying that we go back and we ask Muhammad bin Idris. Who is this Muhammad bin Idris? That all of these muhaditheen, like Imam Muslim, Imam Tirmizi, Imam Ibn Majah, and many more, Imam Suyuti, and Mufassirin, like Suyuti and Imam Ibn Kathir, and like people like intellectual people like Imam Ghazali rahimahullah, all of them are saying when a ruling of Sharia comes up, we go and ask Muhammad bin Idris. Muhammad bin Idris was a person originally an Arab from Quraysh, born in a well-known place in Palestine called Gaza. He was born in Gaza in Palestine. He was still an infant when his father passed away and he became orphan. His mother was very wise and very knowledgeable woman. She had some high expectations from her son. And accordingly, she started planning for the future of her life. When her son Muhammad bin Idris was only 2 years old, she took him from Palestine to Makkah Mukarramah, and she is stationed in Makkah only so that her son will be able, as he will grow up, he will grow up in that atmosphere, and then he will be able to learn the Quran and the Sunnah from the scholars that are around the Haram of Makkah Mukarramah. He will get his knowledge from around the scholars that are teaching the Hadith and Sharia around Ka'batullah. We made some determinations and some planning of our lives too. And here there is a woman that made a planning also for her children. And we can see the difference between the plannings. The single woman, the single mother, who has no one to support her. She leaves Palestine and she goes all the way to Makkah Mukarramah. She's stationed over there. She started living in a new place. Only so that her son, as he would grow up, he will have the right atmosphere. So she can get him into the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and get him to do some service for the deen of Allah in future. Mothers, and see what mothers are giving to the ummah. And Muhammad bin Idris himself explains. He says, as I started growing up, forget about having money to buy some pen and paper for myself. We did not even have food at home, and we always was just making survival through few dates or having little milk. This is what we will survive on. Most of the time we are just starving at our home. For a couple of days we won't have nothing to eat, nothing to drink except water, my mother always told me that, son, don't inform about it to anyone. Don't let any of your colleagues of the class know about it, because they may come and give us, and this will become like begging. And I'm not a woman that would beg people for anything. He says, throughout my life as a student, I never had money to buy a pen. Subhanallah. Who's saying this? A person then who later on was followed by all of these great scholars. She worked so hard on the education of her son that the same Muhammad bin Idris later on was known as Imam Shafi rahimahullah. This is Imam Shafi rahimahullah, who was orphan. The mother gifted this great gift to the ummah. Again, I would remind, we talked about Imam Malik and the gift that that mother offered to the ummah. Here you see another gift that was given to the ummah by a woman, by a mother. When we say what a mother can do, this is what mothers have done. This great gift that the ummah has, that we call Imam Shafi rahimahullah, with all the knowledge that we have of Imam Shafi rahimahullah. You cannot talk about fiqh without quoting Imam Shafi rahimahullah. All of this is going back to the mother of Imam Shafi, who offered so much sacrifice for the education of her son. Surprisingly, you look at the biographies of many of these great scholars of Islam, you find similar situation there, that most of them were raised in that form for the education of Islam, lives devoted for the sake of deen. It was through the efforts of their mothers. Imam Bukhari, Imam Ghazali, Imam Nawawi, and here we have the example of Imam Shafi rahimahullah. Orphans. Mothers are washing dishes in people's home so that she would be able to teach her children some deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Children are crying when they see the situation of their mothers, that my mother has to do all of this work for me. And at the end of the day, all we get is few dates. But mother says, son, my advice to you, common advice between all of these scholars, my advice to you, I don't want to see you working at all. I'll take care of that part. All I need from you, that go and learn the deen of Allah. Imam Shafi rahimahullah says, when I got to the age of memorizing Quran, my mother took me to a teacher, and she could not offer him anything, no wages, no salary for the teacher to teach me the Quran. All she did was she went and told him that I'm a widow, I cannot afford anything. If you please would accept my son for teaching him the Quran. And out of kindness, the teacher accepted me in his class. But subhanallah, as he started learning, teacher realized that this is something not normal. This son, this child, his memory is such that when he is memorizing, he is complaining to his teacher that when I memorize one side, if I look at the other side, I memorize it before this one. So I have to keep a blank page on the other side of the book, so I won't even see it, because if I would see it, I may memorize that one before this one. At the age of 7, he was Hafiz al-Quran, and at the age of 10, he had memorized, in addition to many ahadith, he had memorized the complete Mu'atta of Imam Malik rahimahullah. At the age of 10. At the age of 13, he had memorized all the ahadith that were available to the scholars in Makkah Mukarramah, and at the age of 13, his teachers asked him to start teaching a class because there is nothing more in Makkah that he can learn. At the age of 13, Imam Shafi rahimahullah is sitting by the Kaaba teaching people the Quran and the Hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.